good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster! Everybody's a suspect! Hey, Ted, where the hell's Corkscrew? Don't fuck with the Chuck!
Welcome back to Toe Tag Reviews. I'm Chuck, and today we're going to talk about Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Directed by Wes Craven, came out in 1994. The film was almost introduced to the Freddy-mobile, which was a goofy concept, but the overall look of the vehicle is sweet. It's like some old roadster type car, and you see the front grille as like the glove. They're shooting out fire and shit. Wes Craven got to keep one of the little Rex props, the little dinosaur.
It's funny because I have the other copy of Rex in my house to this day, and it always kind of takes a tug at my heart because this thing that protects you but also gets slashed in the process but can be repaired. And
most of the cast and crew like the overall redesign of Freddy, and I'm one of them. I like the trench coat. I like how he's more polished in this one. The way his burns are on his face, they look kind of better. Miko Hughes got to keep the playground as a kid. That's everyone's dream, to have a playground all to yourself, and the fact that you own it, it's got to be one of the coolest things ever.
We said, what are you going to do with it? They were going to haul it to the dump. So we rented the flatbed trucks, and growing up, I've had that park in my backyard ever since.
On to the film. The movie actually begins, much like the original, making a dope-ass robotic glove for the movie. The glove goes haywire, stabs Chuck right in the throat. Ouch. Heather wakes up to an earthquake. Dylan is a huge fan of the original Nightmare on Elm Street because he's watching his mom on the big screen. Julie shows up, and if she looks familiar, she's Daisy from the Scream MTV series. Dylan is also played by Miko Hughes, and if I remember right, this is his second movie he's ever done. The first one was Gage Creed from Pet Sematary. Heather's on a talk show, and then bam, Robert Englund shows up, dressed as the Fredmeister, and the crowd goes wild. They eat that shit up. They love Freddy. New Line Cinema calls Heather and wants to propose an offer that she can't refuse. Hey look, it's producer Bob Shea, and he's asking Heather to be in one final Nightmare movie. She turns down the offer though, because she's not about that shit. Dylan has a nightmare and tells Heather to never sleep again, but he does it in this like weird demonic voice.
Never sleep again.
And she's starting to notice that Dylan's acting different. She just has an uneasy feeling that it's Freddy. Heather calls Chase and tells him about Dylan's episode and that he needs to come home. Chase is on his way home, but Freddy decides to give him a quick little tug job, if you know what I mean. He stabs him right in the freaking chest, causing him to crash his vehicle. The police show up to tell Heather the news. She goes to see his body, and she sees the slash marks, and she's starting to connect the dots now. Fun fact, the morgue worker is Kenny the cameraman from Scream. The funeral has a lot of cameos from throughout the franchise. You have Rod from the original, you got John freaking Saxon, Robert Englund, Wes Craven, the list goes on. Dylan wakes up in the middle of the night to watch the original film again because it's that fucking good. He sings the jump rope song to Heather and tells her that Freddy's also coming through to the real world. Heather gets advice from John Saxon. Of all people, John fucking Saxon? Hell yeah, dude. Dylan looks like Jeff Hardy at the top of the fucking playground, reaching for the belt, but shit. He falls, and out of nowhere, Nancy catches him. Mom of the Year award, you know what I mean? Heather calls Robert Englund, and they talk about everything that's been going on. Robert goes into like some weird trance when he's painting. He just sounds kind of off.
Today's no good. There's something I have to finish.
But we get to see what he's painting, and dude, as much as I don't like this movie, that painting is fucking sweet. I would love to have it in the studio. Dylan tapes knives to his fingers and attacks Heather, so she takes him to the hospital to get checked out. The nurse gives Dylan a sleeping pill, but he's like, no! He ain't about that shit. He spits it out, puts it under his pillow. Heather goes to visit Wes about the script to see what is really going on. Wes tells Heather that for the last 10 years, this entity has been held captive as Freddy Krueger in the movies, but now the genie's out of the bottle. Heather has to choose to play Nancy one final time to defeat Freddy once and for all, or be a victim to him. Freddy shows up and attacks Heather, but calls her Nancy, which she found very odd. Heather goes to check on Dylan, and he tells her that Freddy is almost through. Heather goes to the restricted section and quotes the first movie.
Do you have a pass? Screw your pass.
She tells Julie to keep an eye on Dylan, and oh look, we're back with a gray streak in her hair for some fucking reason, because that never made sense. Freddy shows him, and I will admit, as dumb as this movie is, he looks fucking sweet. I love that trench coat. I just love everything about him in this movie. He plays Skin the Cat with Julie. Kinda reminisces the first one. Dylan waltzes right on out of the hospital and sleepwalks right across the freeway. John Saxon shows up to the house, and he's in character from the first movie. You see his badge, you see his gun, John. Keeps calling her baby and everything like that. When she calls him John, he freaks out. Nancy finds a breadcrumb trail from Dylan's sleeping pills, and it's a nod to the beginning of the movie. She was reading him Hansel and Gretel. She takes a sleeping pill and goes into the dream world to kill Freddy and to save Dylan. Freddy attacks Nancy, and Dylan sticks him right in the leg. Ouch. Being just stabbed would be like the worst thing ever. Freddy grabs Dylan, and Nancy recreates her running up the stairs, and it's like sticky. It's kind of like marshmallow a little bit. Freddy's mouth opens, and he's about to swallow Dylan whole. Nancy ends up stabbing him right in the leg again. But the VHS rewind moment is when Dylan stabs Freddy's tongue. I mean, look at that thing. The way it's wrapped around Nancy. The whole shtick. Everything about it. I love cheesy effects. They are so fucking cool, so creative. But like, look at it. How can you not like that part? They lock Freddy in like this furnace-looking type room. He finally gets laid to rest. The movie comes to an end with Heather and Dylan coming out of the dream world into reality, and they read the script.
Thanks for having the guts to play Nancy one last time. At last, Freddy's back where he belongs.
The toe tag score, 2 out of 5. The pros, it's a movie I've never seen done, especially up to that point, 1994. Great idea. The execution just fell a little flat for me. The cons, it was super bland and boring. The stupid earthquake shit just really irritated me. If I'm being nitpicky here, it was a very dumb concept and very dumb plot hole. The kills in this movie were pretty lackluster, to say the least. It's very forgetful, if I'm being honest. When I think of the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, this and Freddy's Dead and Part 5 are like literally bottom of the barrel. Glad this is over. We're going to do the remake now because I already did Freddy vs. Jason and the Friday the 13th franchise. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and until then, see you later.